ये अपना संजीवन है।
Hi friends, let's learn a new, very interesting story, a lesson that's Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. This story is written by William Saroyan. Now let's gather more information about the author. The author of the story, William Saroyan, was an American Armenian novelist, playwright, and a short story writer. He was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 1940 and in 1943 won Academy Award for the Best Story for the film adaptation of his novel The Human Comedy. He was born on 31st August 1908, Fresno, California, United States, and he passed away on 18th May 1981, Fresno, California, United States. Dear friends, here you can view the image of the author, and here his birth and death. It is mentioned here. Now let's turn towards the introduction of the story. The story revolves around the two poor Armenian boys, Maurad and Aram, and a beautiful white horse. The boy stole a beautiful horse and kept him in a secret place. Their tribe was suffering from poverty, but despite this, they were famous for their honesty. Both the boys took good care of the horse and loved him. They also enjoyed their riding for a long time. At the other side, John Barrow, the real owner of the horse, was very simple and fond and a very kind hearted person. When he saw the horse with the boys, he looked into the horse's mouth and examined his teeth. John Barrow recognizes his horse but refuses to leave because of their fame of honesty. After realizing their mistake, they return the horse to his real owner, Barrow. Now let's understand the characters which are mentioned, which are developed through the story. So let's understand the various characters of out of this story. The story revolves around the two cousins, Aram and Maurad, who belong to a poor Armenian tribe. The other major characters are Uncle Khusro, furious and intempered. Uncle Khusro was a little furious and intempered. Then John Barrow, the American who, out of loneliness, learned Armenian. So this is one more character, John Barrow. So these are the key characters, important characters, which are developed by author in this story. This is the image of Armenian boys for your better understanding and for understanding the social status or the economical condition and other aspects related to the story. So this image can help to understand the little boys which are mentioned in the story, Armenian boys. uh, Actually they are cousins, Aram and Maurad. Now let's turn towards the explanation of the story, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. One day, 9-year-old Aram was asleep and was in a world of extremely beautiful imagination. His life was pleasant and kind of in a mysterious dream. His cousin Maurad showed up on the window of his room at 4 in the morning. He called Aram, who jumped out of his bed and still couldn't believe that he saw out of the window. It was dawn, and there was a light enough outside to make him see outside, what made him believe he wasn't dreaming. Maurad was sitting on a white horse, Aram rubbed his eyes, stuck out his head out of the window. Maurad assured him it was not a dream. He asked if he wanted a ride, he must make it quick. Maurad was a type of person who enjoyed being alive, but he couldn't believe that he was seeing a horse in front of him. Aram's earliest memory was of horses, and he always wanted to ride one. This was the wonderful part, that he was actually going to ride a horse for real. Aram's family was a poor and had a no money, so it was difficult for him to believe in what he saw outside his house. He belonged to a Garogalan family that was strictly and funnily in poverty. They didn't even know how they managed to get food for themselves every day. Although his tribe was poor, they were known for their honesty for 11 centuries. They were honest, proud, and always believed in a right and wrong. No one from their family would ever steal anything, would take advantage of anyone in the world. Aram was so excited that he was seeing a horse that was so pleasant and beautiful. He could smell it and hear it breathing, and still couldn't believe that Maurad or anyone in the family could afford a horse. He was thinking if Maurad had stolen the horse, but he didn't believe it, as he thought no one in his family could be a thief. He stared at his cousin and then at the horse. There was a religious motionlessness and wittiness in both Maurad and the horse, as one charmed him and the other scared him. He asked Maurad if he had stolen the horse. Maurad replied, if he wants a ride, he must jump out of the window. Aram was convinced that the horse was stolen by our Maurad. He came to visit him, to ask him to ride it with him. Aram tried to convince himself that it was not the same as stealing money, as they both were so crazy about riding a horse. He thought that it would not be called stealing until they decide to sell it, which they would never do. Aram said he will wear some clothes and come outside. He jumped down to his yard from his room's window and sat on the horse behind his cousin Morad. Aram lived at the edge of the town on the Walnut Avenue. There were orchards, vineyards, irrigation ditches, and the country roads behind the house. They were on Olive Avenue within 3 minutes, and the horse started to proceed. The air felt new and lovely to breathe. Aram felt wonderful sitting on the horse which was running. Maurad started singing loudly, who was considered one of the craziest members of the family. There is one crazy person in every family, and Maurad was one natural descendant of a crazy race in their tribe. Before Maurad was Uncle Khusro was one huge man with a black hair and the largest mustache in the valley. He had an energetic temper and was impatient, which was irritating. He used to make anyone stop talking by roaring and say, it is no harm, pay no attention to it. Uncle Khusro was always this rigid, no matter who happened to be talking about in front of him. Once his own son, Arav, came running to him when he was getting his mustache trimmed at the barber shop. He told him the house was on fire to which he roared and said the same dialogue. Barber was amused, tried to talk to him about it, but as usual, Khusro roared again, did not pay attention to it. Maurad was considered to be a natural descendant of this man, but he was not his son. His father was a Zohrab, who was a practical man. A child could look like his father, but doesn't mean he gets his nature and attitude just the same. There are different kinds of people in their tribes, moody and without any settled work or home. They were still riding the horse, and Maurad was still singing loudly. They were still in the countryside, where, according to their neighbors, they belonged to. Maurad asked him to get down as he wanted to ride alone. Aram asked if he could ride the horse alone. He said, "It is up to the horse if he wants to ride you along," and asked him to get Maurad down again. Aram tried to convince him that the horse would let him ride, to which Maurad said, "We shall see," and told Aram that he had a way with a horse. Aram told him that he had it too. Maurad told him to get down and said, "It is for his own safety, and let us hope so." Aram got down while telling him that he will ride the horse alone. Maurad kicked his heels in the horse and shouted a run to him. The horse stood on its hind legs, breathed out, and ran into a speed. Maurad raced the horse across a field of a dry grass and irrigation ditches. When they arrived 5 minutes later, they were wet. The sun was almost up, and Aram told him it was his turn to ride. Maurad got off, and Aram sat on the horse. He was fearful, and the horse did not move. Maurad tried to guide him by saying that he should try to kick into his muscles, and told him that he should hurry because they need to take him back before everyone woke up. Before anyone woke up, Aram kicked into the muscles of the horse, to which the horse again raised and breathed out. The horse began to run. Aram didn't know what to do, how to control the running horse. The horse started going towards the road that leads the vineyard of Bikram Halebian. It began to move over vines, and Aram fell down. The horse continued to run, and Maurad came running down the road towards him. Maurad told him that he is not worried about him, but they need to find the horse. They both went different ways to find him. He instructed Aram to be kind if he saw him anywhere. Aram looked for the horse down and the road. The Maurad went towards the irrigation ditch. He came back after 30 minutes with the horse. He told him to jump over as the whole world was awakened by then. Aram asked that what would they do now, to which Maurad told him about two options: take him back or hide him until tomorrow. Maurad was not worried, and Aram knew that Maurad would hide him somewhere and not take him back for a while. Aram asked him where Maurad would hide him. Maurad told him about a place he knew which would be perfect as a hidden spot. Aram eagerly asked him when he stole the horse. It It appeared to him that Morad had been taking the horse for morning rides for quite some time, and he showed up this morning to ask Aram to ride along because he knew he was longing to ride one. Morad shuts him down by asking a counter question about who talks about stealing a horse. Aram tried to change the question by asking him since how long was he riding the horse every morning. Morad told him that morning was the first time. Aram was not convinced and asked him if he was telling the truth. Morad said if anyone asked Aram, he should say that it was true. And he further added that he didn't want them to be liars, but they had to say only this. Aram agreed, and Morad walked the horse quietly towards the barn of a deserted vineyard. It belonged to a farmer named Fetwegian. The barn had some oats and alfalfa. Alfalfa. They started walking home. Maura told Aram that it was not easy to get the horse to behave nicely as it wanted to run wild at first. He told him again that he had a way with the horse and he could get them to do whatever he wants to. Horses understood him. Aram amusingly asked him how he controlled the horse, to which Maura said he has an understanding with the horse. Aram asked him what sort of understanding did he have with him, to which Maura told him a simple and honest one. Aram confessed he would also like to know how to have an understanding with the horse. Maurad assured Aram by saying that he is still a small boy. He will learn when he will be 30. Aram went home and ate breakfast. That day, his uncle Khusro visited his house for coffee and cigarettes. He sat in the parlor and was remembering the old country when a person came to visit him. He was John Byrow, a farmer who learned to speak Armenian because of loneliness. His mother bought Byrow some coffee and tobacco. He sipped and smoked and told them about his missing white horse who was stolen last month and he is not able to find it. Khusro roared again that it is no harm and shouted that why he was crying over a lost horse when they had lost their homeland. John replied to Khusro that he would not bother as he lives in a city, but his country was no good without his horse. Khusro shouted that he must not pay any attention to it. John told him that he walked down 10 miles to come here. Khusro shouted that he has legs, to which John said his left leg hurt. Khusro again tried to shut him down by saying that he should not pay any attention to it. John shared that the horse cost him $60. Khusro said he would spit on the money, after which John got up and went away, slamming the door. Aram's mother told him that John had a gentle heart as he was homesick and he was such a large man. Aram went to Maurad. He was sitting under a peach tree talking to a robin bird. He was repairing the wing that was hurt. Aram told him about John Byrow and how he visited their house and he wanted his horse. Aram asked him not to return the horse until he learns to ride it